It is. What's up, y'all? I'm David Crocker.
I'm David Prosper.
And welcome again to another episode of Black Matters. This is the podcast where we talk about all things that matter to us as Black people. Today's episode, we are talking about religion. Well, not necessarily religion, but beliefs. Black people and our beliefs. One of the most popular beliefs that we have as Black people, I think, is Christianity. Wouldn't you think so?
Yeah. I mean, growing up in a Baptist household, that was the norm. If you weren't Christian, then it was almost like everybody assumed you didn't believe in God.
I remember the first person that I met that, as a Black person that wasn't a Christian, I kind of looked at them judgmentally. This was back in my younger days, but I was like, how can you as a Black person not be a Christian? I thought all Black people love Jesus, but apparently that's not the case.
Well, I hate to say that slavery is the biggest contributor, to Black people following Christianity. As far as I know, the first Christian church was in Ethiopia. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, Christianity's been around for much longer than slavery, but it's been tweaked and kind of bastardized, in my opinion. Well, I don't want to say bastardized. That seems kind of harsh, especially to the Christians who still hold true to the original beliefs. But it's been kind of watered down, so to speak, and you got a bunch of churches that have gone on record exploiting primarily Black folks, in the name of Christianity. So, obviously it's not all of them, but as your local police would say, you fit the description.
It's one of those cases where it's like one bad apple spoils the bunch, where Christians get this rap, and there are a bunch of stereotypes about us. And I'm a Christian myself. I'm actually a Christian minister, where we're arrogant, we're very judgmental. We don't see things from the other point of view. And actually, somebody told me at work the other day that she was talking to her mom. She was like, "Oh, Mom, I work with this preacher, but you wouldn't think he was a preacher." And at first, I got offended because I was like, "Whoa, what do you mean?" But then, in essence, what I realized she was saying was that I don't fit that stereotype. I'm not throwing the Bible down your throat. You know what I'm saying? We at work. There's a time and there's a place for that. But when we at work, I'm just trying to get through the shift, make sure everybody good, make sure everybody has a good time. And if there ever came a time before that, of course, I would act appropriately. But, Christians, we don't have to be preaching to everybody all the time, trying to throw the Bible down, throw your beliefs down somebody's throat, throw the Bible down somebody's throat. All our job simply is, especially me as a preacher, is simply to lead you to Jesus, to tell you about Jesus, to spread the gospel. It's up to you to make those necessary choices to follow him and to, read your Bible and get in tune with who Jesus is and get in tune with who God is.
In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was God.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is spread the Word, and you're spreading God. It's not about, hey, you got to believe this, or you got to act this way, or all you got to do is preach the message, and the message is love. So all the extra that comes in the name of Christianity is part of the bastardization I was talking about.
And you can preach, and just by simply living your life, man, just by showing love, being nice to folk, being kind. That's a part of ministry also, not just trying to force your own personal beliefs, your own personal theologies down somebody's throat, making them want to think like you, making them want to live like you. Nah, you can just simply live your life and be who you are, and that could be the biggest sermon or a better sermon than anything ever given behind the pulpit. Just simply the life that you live.
Big facts. Growing up, I was always fascinated with the polytheistic cultures, like ancient Greece and ancient Rome, and their different gods.
That fascinated me too.
I've done a lot of different readings on different cultures, religions, and beliefs, and all of that. And my personal beliefs are probably a little bit more far-fetched than other people's, but I feel like I'm on the right spiritual path for myself.
Me too.
And where most people would pray or they would go to church, I'll meditate. And I'm not as active as I should be, or not as active as I used to be anyway. But it's it's a spiritual journey. You know, when I first started, it was all about stimulating all five senses while I was trying to meditate, which now that I'm looking back on it, it seems counterproductive because the whole point of meditation is to clear your mind. You know, I would go and I would have the binaural beat for the root chakra playing on a real low volume in the background. I would have a certain incense. I forget what the scent was, but I would have incense burning so it would stimulate my nose. I would have a certain light color. It was red for your root chakra. So I would have red light in the in the ceiling fan while I was doing it. Was just, I was trying to do it all, and now the way I meditate is so simple. I picture myself on a lake or ocean or whatever, on a real unbalanced canoe or kayak or something that'll tip over easily, and any thought that I have, I'll just kind of acknowledge it and let it drop back into the water. A lot of people, when they meditate, they force themselves to stop having those thoughts. You're gonna think. That's what we do. You stop doing everything else, your mind just starts going. So you have a random thought and your first instinct is, oh no, I'm not supposed to be thinking about it. I'm supposed to be meditating. So you just let the thought come and pass and you're good to go, because you start deflecting and trying to push things off. Well, now you're unbalanced and you're gonna sink. So I keep a pretty good what's the word I'm looking for? A pretty good balance. Meditation has been a pretty good staple, especially during all the crazy that's going on right now. It keeps me pretty level-headed. So, what about you?
Just praying, man, praying. Talking to God. That's all prayer is talking to God. It has a lot of similarities to me with meditation, but just simply telling God what's going on with me. It's kind of like using God as a therapist. All my deepest fears, all my darkest secrets, God knows. And that's also helped me get in tune with who I am, because hearing from God kind of lets me know, gives me the confidence to tap into abilities to do things I didn't even think I had the potential to do, such as this podcast. You know what I'm saying? I'm scared, but it was talking to God, and through my brother right here, it was like, hey bro, we got to do this. So that's one of the whole reasons I credit him for everything, because if it weren't for him, a lot of the decisions that I make, I would not have made. And I get, there is also this thing we call free will, and I get that. But when we look at God and we look at his power, if you look at the word power, it comes from the root word potere.
Yeah, potere.
Potere. The Latin root word potere, and that simply means to be able. So all power is, when we think of power, we think of this grand supernatural force, which it is and which it can be. However, if you just break it down, all power is simply your own ability. Your own ability to make the right decisions, your own ability to do the right thing, your own ability to love people, your own ability to do what you do. So we all have that. And so prayer, talking to God, is how I tap into that. It's how I realize that, I can do something bigger than what I'm doing. I can be greater than what I'm great. And that gives me the confidence. That gives me the strength to kind of keep going and keep working. Even when sometimes, you take falls, even when sometimes you take losses, you take those losses, you pray about it, and you get up and you keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? You make your next step. You use your own power. You tap into who you are. You tap into your own ability, your own power, what you can do, and be the best you that you can be.
I feel like that's kind of where, let me back up a little bit. I used to work with an old lady, and, we used to have a whole bunch of religious and spiritual conversations. She was Roman Catholic. She was about 78 years old. Big difference of opinion. And it was cool. It wasn't no smoke between us, anything like that. Just difference of opinion. And when I told her, how powerful and how at peace and enlightened I felt, after successful meditation sessions, she would say, don't let your head get too big. Don't focus too much on your own power, because that's what God is for.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where, your meditation and your own spirituality kind of meets religion, because, for your 7 major chakras, the top one is your crown, and that's your higher consciousness. That's your relationship with God. And for you to meditate and build yourself up, you got to start at the root. You got to immerse yourself in all of your own power to even be able to have that relationship with a higher consciousness to begin with.
Definitely.
So
It's all about knowing who you are.
yeah,
And what I found out is that knowing who God is helps me know who I am. Knowing God's power helps me know my own power. Knowing God's ability helps me know my own ability. So it's a connection. It's a consistent connection that helps literally in every aspect of my life.
created in His image.
Yeah, that's what.
There you go.
Genesis 1:27.
You know, and then on a similar note, or a side note rather, you know, all the different religions and all the different beliefs, I just feel like over the course of the thousands of years that they've been around, and you know, language barriers and all that, it's been a big game of telephone. Most of these religions are preaching the same thing. You know, they've all got their deity, they've all got their prophet, they've all got the message, and the message is always love. You know, it's always take care of people. It's always, you know, walk this way. You know, stay the path. You know, don't harm anybody, don't rob anybody, don't kill anybody. You know, it's all the same stuff. So I really don't understand what all the struggle is about and all the beef is just because people believe different stuff.
I think it's literally just simple as just showing love. Like me and you, we have different religious beliefs, you know, maybe different spiritual beliefs, but it's all love.
Yeah,
It's literally all love. We literally sit there, have this conversation, and then just go laugh about something and keep it moving. There ain't no bad blood, ain't no animosity. He don't think I'm crazy. I don't think he crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's all love. Everybody has a right to believe what they want to believe. Everybody has a right to believe in whomever they choose to believe in. Like I say, I don't take my job and my call as a preacher lightly. I do understand it is my job to spread the gospel of Jesus. I get that. However, it's your job to live. It's your job to choose to accept what's been told to you. It's your job to accept what people are telling you, what's been preached to you, and use that to make a decision on choosing to follow Him.
I like it. Another part of what we wanted to talk about was what you believe happens when you die.
Nah.
You know, everybody's version of heaven or hell or lack thereof, or you know, reincarnation or whatever y'all believe is that's a pretty interesting topic for me. And I personally believe that whatever walk of life you choose to follow, whatever you believe happens is what happens. You know, if you believe you're gonna come back as a tree and you walk your whole life believing, okay, when this earthly body of mine is gone, I'm gonna regrow and provide oxygen for the rest of the planet. Oh, okay. What more power to you, bro?
Hey,
You be the best damn tree you can be. You know,
provide some shade to me one day.
If you believe nothing happens, you walk this earth and you think that the time that you have here is all you got, then when you're gone, you just gone. I don't think it's as cut and dry as, okay, everybody has to make the right decision. You know, otherwise I don't think there would be that many different opinions, because it would be pretty clear.
I didn't even think about it like that.
So that's my stance on it.
I do believe in there's a heaven and hell. I do believe if you do right, if you love Jesus, you go to heaven. If you have not chosen and accepted Jesus as your Savior, you go to hell. However, sometimes I find, like, let's say there's an atheist, a person who does not believe in God, does not believe in Jesus. But let's just say they're the nicest person. They'll give you the shirt off their back. They always helping people. They always showing love. There's no evil in their heart. The only thing is they don't believe in Jesus. Now, to me, you should go to heaven. But because you're not a believer, that the Bible said that disqualifies you. So I feel like that's kind of unfair, and I know that's just my humanity, but then I feel bad about feeling unfair as a Christian, because I'm like, why? You know, because I've been raised
this decision,
right? Why question God? You know, I was raised don't question God, but then it's like I don't get it.
To that effect, you know, I feel like, you know, I've read through the Bible, you know, and it's still man-made,
Yeah.
You know. So it's going to contain errors, and I don't think anybody should take it literally. You know, I hate to liken it to a book of Mother Goose rhymes, but, you know, each book, each story has a message.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
And instead of taking it word for word, you got to read between the lines and figure out what the message is. It's really blueprints, you know? It's somebody else's story retold, and just like the religions as a whole, you know, it's been watered down. There's been some language barriers. It's not translated literally, you know. So you have to take the man's message in the Bible. You got to take God's message in the Bible, and you got to piece together for yourself what it means. So when it comes to the Bible says this is how you should do this, or the Bible says this, well, yeah, but only because somebody made it say that. I don't want to knock, that there are passages and that there are quotes directly from the Lord. If that's what you believe, that's what you believe. I'm not here to knock that. But what I do want to say is that when people take the Bible literally, then that's where I feel like most of the miscommunication comes in.
And another thing with like you said, it's a blueprint. One of the acronyms that what they say for Bible is basic instructions before leaving Earth. So basically like a map of how you should live your life and some things you should do while you're on this earth before you leave your earth to make heaven your eternal home. There are definitely some stuff that's in there directly from God. However, it's very important to study and know for yourself. Very important to study, for yourself. You can have a pastor that can preach to you every Sunday, but if you don't know what it says for yourself, you know what I'm saying, you're going to be consistently doing a limbo, consistently leaning on somebody else's religion, consistently living off of somebody else's opinion and not knowing what it says for yourself, not knowing, what God says specifically for you. Because even though every Bible says the same thing, like you said, there's a message. You have to read between the lines, and you can miss what God is saying for you because all you want to do is get fed from somebody else. You have to learn how to feed yourself, know what it says for yourself. That way you can make the best decisions that you can for you, for your life, and how you should choose to go about your relationship with God.
Having somebody else talk to you about what you should believe or your religion, I liken to talking to a child about something that they shouldn't do. Shoot, I'll use myself. My dad used to tell me all the time, he was a financial advisor for years. There's no reason I should have ever been through a broke spell in my life. He used to tell me all the time about how to save and how to invest certain things and how to make sure I kept track of how I was spending my money and all of that. And yeah, I heard him. Yeah, I understood what he was talking about, but I had no frame of reference. I had never lost money. I had never had to manage money. So yeah, I understood the concept, but I had no frame of reference for it. So in one ear and out the other. And then all of a sudden, 5 years later, I'm calling him like, man, why didn't you tell me about my credit score? And he's looking like, I did. Yeah, told you this years ago, man, but you got to do the work yourself. You got to do the work to really understand. Hearing somebody and thinking you understand versus getting some experience in whatever it is you're trying to understand, it's two completely different animals. And especially when it comes to something as important as your eternal soul, if you're gonna believe what you believe just because somebody else said it or just because your family believed that growing up, then it has its place. Obviously communities tend to flock together, but I'm not saying don't believe it, just do the work yourself.
And that's crazy. Like I said, I grew up in a Baptist household, so I really haven't experienced too much other than Christian, being a Baptist, being a Christian. I did go visit a Catholic church one time. wasn't really feeling that. But I'm a visual person. Or I have to learn by experience. You know what I'm saying? You can tell me the stove is hot, but I'm not gonna know the stove is hot until I put my hand on it to burn my hand. That's just who I am. Yeah. So my relationship with God is based on everything that I've experienced, everything that I've seen. I know God is not a person you can see, but I've seen him do some stuff that literally only he can do. So it's very important that even if you're gonna be connected to somebody that has a relationship with God, that it's somebody that is not telling you just what they heard from somebody else. Everything I wanna preach, everything I live, is something that I've experienced. Everything that I try to tell somebody or encourage somebody, when I want it to come from a place that I've experienced, a place where I've said, okay, God did do this, or a place where I've said, okay, God did turn this thing around, or God did heal me. So it should never just be feeding information that you're getting from somebody else, or you're getting from somebody else from somebody else. Get connected with somebody that has that experience, and then you keep, you live your life, you study, and once you have that experience, you'll be able to better see and better understand who God is. But you always want to do the work yourself so you can experience it yourself and not just live a life just based on he say, she say. I want to do this because he said. I want to do this because she said. Yes, my parents had a heavy influence of me, of my religious upbringing. However, once I got of age and able to make the decision for myself, and because of my own experiences, I was able to make the decision and still keep living the life that they set the foundation for me.
I know it's only by the grace of God that I'm still alive.
Amen.
I've been in some situations that I don't want to say should have claimed my life, but by a matter of inches or a matter of seconds could have.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've been telling myself since I was 12 years old. I had a dream. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember distinctly waking up from the dream and telling myself, I'm going to live to be 120 years old. And I've been saying it since I was 12 years old. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm going to walk around like I'm invincible. I have to live according to the blueprint.
Exactly.
And I act like I'm going to live to be 120.
Exactly.
I can't be out here being reckless and doing all the all the other stuff.
Act like you got it till you get it.
But, I definitely know for a fact that God has had a hand in my well-being on this planet because we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But we'll bring it to a close relatively soon. Before we do, I want to talk about some of the good and bad that the churches have done in the community, and shooting these different episodes, I kind of feel like I take the role of the bad guy, when we talk about stuff. But there's a certain level of brainwashing I feel like goes into the black community when it comes to the church. It's almost like you're ostracized if you don't readily accept Christianity as your faith. I'm not an atheist, I'm not Buddhist. I don't really identify with one religion. I personally feel like the religions themselves don't do much harm, but the organized churches of those religions cause harm. So we're talking mainly about the black community, so I'll keep it limited to Christianity. But again, do your own search, man. I personally, if I had to say that I would identify with anything really closely, it would probably be the principles of Ma'at, 42 principles. Each of the 10 commandments was derived from those principles, and these people were so peaceful. One of their commandments or principles rather was to not even make anybody feel bad. So do what you gotta do. That's the only. I'll just say, there's some bad, in the brainwashing and the stigma that comes with not being Christian is the biggest negative, I think, when it comes to Christianity.
And it's kind of like one of those things where it's like one bad apple spoils the bunch. Well, a lot of the times you're gonna hear people speaking so negatively because of church hurt, because of the scams, and because of money hungry pastors, because of
the fashion
shows and the entanglements that's going on in the church and whatnot. And I know a lot of that is, we hear all that is so negative, but it's actually it's a lot of good that the church does. There's a lot of communities where I've seen personally where the church has my church feeds the community, gives out school supplies, helps out people in need. Some churches, we have in bigger churches on a bigger scale doing free COVID testing and, buying groceries and Christmas gifts and, being that light, because the church isn't just the building. It isn't just what we do on Sunday morning for an hour and a half, some 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. But it's outside of what we do. Are you that same person that's shouting, outside the building on Monday? Are you that same person that's preaching on Tuesday at work? Are you that same person that's praying on Wednesday at the grocery store? So that's where I think a lot of the bad comes in, because I just see you, act a fool and jump and holler and fall and hit the floor and preach and all this other good stuff. And that gave me the perception that you're saved and you love this God that you were just shouting about. But when you see me at the grocery store, you can't even speak to me. You know what I'm saying? You can't even, you can't even help somebody out, So I think that's where a lot of that negativity comes in, and we as the church, because the church is the people, have to do and be much better than that. Because if we want to win souls like it is our mission to win souls, it has to come from outside the pulpit, outside the choir stand, outside the four walls.
I used to joke that I left Christianity because church took too long. But that's one of the positives too. Just to echo, what you were saying is it's a community thing. It's bigger than the building. I remember, I went to St. John Church Baptist in Chicago, and a huge part of the congregation was my family. Yeah. And there was just such a sense of, like, I didn't know in the church who was family and who wasn't.
Because everybody,
man. It was just a beautiful thing, and that's probably the biggest reason I stopped going to church, because my dad was in the Navy, so we moved around a lot, and I could never find a church that felt like that.
Yeah,
it always seemed like it was. It just wasn't the same.
It just wasn't that family, that whole family.
Yeah, it was just real disjointed. Yeah, so it kind of pushed me away and caused me to start doing my own thing, but for the time that I did spend among the church and in the Christian faith, that was really one of the most beautiful things, was just the camaraderie and the sense of wholeness, and the fact that everybody wanted, everybody was a part of something that was bigger than just them or just the family, so that was good.
Yeah, man. So yes, just focus on the good. Don't just focus on all the negative, man. Yeah. Focus on the good. It's people like me and other people out here that's just trying to do the right thing, trying to live a good life, trying to live a life for Christ and help somebody out. That's it, man. Just show love, spread love, be love, and hey, everything will work out perfectly.
That's it.
Hey, man. So
I felt like we did a lot of rambling on this one, but we we all got something to say.
Yeah.
So we'll close it out. We'll do our business shout outs. Mine goes to my father, actually. He calls himself the Love Alchemist. Well, my mom calls him the Love Alchemist. Actually, I'm gonna read a little bit from his page, not an excerpt or anything. I don't want to misquote, his title or anything like that. So let me see here. We have Vaughn Says on Facebook. He's a husband, father, author, motivational speaker, relationship strategist and coach, and a love alchemist. The website is conditionsoflove.com. If you and your spouse or significant other are struggling, you don't really know what to do, but you want to save the relationship, hit him up. He saved countless relationships. He's written books, he's got talk shows, he's doing it big right now, and he's helping some good people. And just go check out the reviews. Check them out. See if he can help you out a little bit.
And my shout out is gonna go to Team Jesus Ministries. You can find them on Facebook at TJ Team Jesus Ministries. That's TJ Team Jesus Ministries. Founded by Tavares Tate. You can find him on Facebook as well. They actually started on the campus of the University of West Georgia about 10 years ago. They're still there every semester doing a Wednesday night service. You can catch them there, I think, in the Bonner Lecture Hall at 8 o'clock when the school and semester starts back. And they do a virtual encounter every Thursday night at 10 p.m. on their Facebook page. Again, that's Team Jesus Ministries. You can find them at TJ Team Jesus Ministries at Facebook. Also, if you're looking for us on social media, you can find me on Facebook at David L. Cochran, and on Instagram at DL__Croc.
Facebook for me, you'll find me at Vaughn Jackson 2. That's VAUN Jackson II. Instagram Indigenous_Prince. And for my father's business, that's Vaughn VAUN Says SAYS, theconditionsoflove.com. Thank you all again for tuning in. This has been another episode of Black Matters. Love, peace. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace, y'all.